Welcome to my AIC factory. If I'm not out there blasting the landbreakers and other living animals into the ether realm, this is where I will spend my time redesigning my base for the bajillion times. And in this video, I want to share my AIC build and show you the fruits of my labor. I will also share the blueprints that will be shown in this video. They are currently locked for the America/Europe server, but I will try get hold of a friend who can provide the code for the Asia server. The main characteristic of my mega base is that most of the production line is split in two. Mainly, the dense ferrium powder is split in different outposts. Why? This design allows for better space optimization, especially if you want to upgrade your base in the future, and this also makes my base design very modular, and you can mix and match the blueprints depending on your needs. There are also some little tricks that I want to share with you with the use of the item port control. In order for this base to work, you need to deploy all of your mining rigs. That includes the last mining rig in the power plateau, where you have to do Wolfguard's event story. Also, make sure to have a few batteries on hand, just in case your base shuts down, and these batteries will help you jumpstart the base. Now, this base design is for those of you who are in the late game, around level 40 to 50. If you're still early in the game, you can design the base however you want.
So, let's start with Valley Pass. We're starting here because this is the first outpost that you can max out early on in the game. And we will convert this outpost into a dense ferrium powder factory. So, to do that, just get in the base. First, move away the core PAC and open your blueprint tab and place the dense fer _1. Make sure that the planter on the bottom right is aligned with the border. And here you can see there's a large gaping hole. But before we place the core PAC, first put in your sand leaf and then grab your core PAC and place it in the middle. Next, we're gonna add the top part using dense fer _2. Open that. Align it with the bus until it's blue and place it. Don't forget your sand leaf on the seed picking unit. There we go. This is the first dense ferrium factory. I'm gonna do the same in the Originium Science Park. So make sure that you have fully upgraded that outpost as well. So here we are in the Science Park. Same thing like before. Go to top-down view, move the core PAC up, and deploy the dense fer _1 and place it at the bottom right. Make sure to align the planter along the border. Again, put your sand leaf into the seed picking unit and drag back the core PAC. Also deploy the second part of the dense ferrium production line, align it with the bus, and snap it in place. Don't forget the sand leaf as well. And that should cover all of the dense ferrium production lines. These two bases have a total of 18 grinder units that will produce a total of 540 dense ferrium powders, which will be used to produce HC batteries and Buck Capsule A. So, with that being said, let's go to the core AIC. The very first thing to start the mega base is to deploy the Grand Farm. This will supply the base with the sand leaf and buck flower. Just deploy it on the bottom left of the core AIC, making sure that all the planters are aligned with the border here and also the conveyor belts touching the yellow lines. Now I like to dedicate each column for a specific plant. So for the first one here, I'm gonna place all sand leaf. And on the second column, this will be the buck flower. So the buck flower will supply the buck capsule A production line, and the sand leaf will supply the Cryston gear / Cryston part production line, which we will get to later. So after you deploy the grand farm, deploy the HCBattery blueprint on this north bus. Make sure that the leftmost shredder is touching the yellow line, and don't forget to supply it with sand leaf. You can deploy a second HCBattery line since our dense ferrium powder production is quite high. Deploy it and place it on the side here. Make sure this shredder is touching the refining unit, and place the sand leaf as well. Next, we're gonna place the buck capsule A. Place it on the east bus. Make sure that it aligns with the yellow border on the right, and place the second one right next to it. This one doesn't have a sand leaf loop, so you don't need to add additional stuff. And that should be the minimum output for your base. With 2 buck capsule A and 2 HC batteries, that will give you a total of 12 of these items per minute. And for the HC battery line, it comes with a built-in thermal bank, so that the batteries that go through the packaging unit, it will go through the thermal banks first, and then any extra batteries will go through the protocol stash and will be placed into your depot. With this configuration, the thermal banks consume in total about half of your battery output. Oh, my base just died. Well, the only way to fix this is to jumpstart it. I have some extra batteries. I'm gonna place it here. Like I said, the thermal banks are built into the battery production line, so any extra batteries that doesn't go into the thermal banks will go into your depot, and you can use that excess battery as trading goods. The thermal banks consume about half of your total output, so you don't need to worry about your thermal banks consuming your batteries more than you can produce. Now you might notice over here there's a big plot of land that is still empty, and this is where we're gonna deploy the Cryston gear / part production line. Make sure that it's aligned with both buses and snap it in place. Oh wow, okay, I am actually using a lot more power than I thought. So I'm going to deploy thermal banks real quick. So you might notice that this grinder is missing a sand leaf powder input. And that's because this grinder needs to share the output, the sand leaf output from the buck capsule A. So once you deploy the Cryston gear, the production line, don't forget to connect this grinder with this shredder by placing a conveyor belt like this. Now let me show you the genius of this production line. You might notice that there's 2 fitting units over here, sleeping, idling, and there are item control ports at the back. These item control ports are switches, so I can have this production line to produce either Cryston gears, which is what it's doing right now, or Cryston parts. To switch to Cryston parts, all I have to do is select the item control port behind the fitting unit, turn off the limiter, and on the other item control port, the item control port that is not connected to the fitting unit, turn on the limiter. And same thing for the other side. Turn this one on, turn this one off, and now this line produces Cryston gear. You can do a similar thing for steel parts. To do that, you need to deploy a protocol stash in front of this fitting unit, connect it with a conveyor belt, and place an item control port. Have this item control port filter steel parts, and right now it's storing the steel parts and sending the steel parts to the packaging unit. If I want to turn this off, I just have to turn on the limiter, and now all the steel parts are going to the packaging unit. So why do we need to do this? First, the steel parts are used for constructing turrets. All the purple turrets require steel parts, and you really need these purple turrets because they are a lot better than the blue turrets, especially for the defense missions. As for the Cryston parts, these are used to build zipline towers. Zipline towers takes 20 Cryston parts each, and you will need this to travel a lot faster in different areas. As for the Cryston gear, this is used to produce purple gear set. Now, depending on the pacing of your game, you might jump to gold gear immediately, but if you're playing the game at a slower pace, you're gonna be using purple gear a lot more often, and you do need a lot of these Cryston parts to produce all the necessary gear sets for your operators. Now the thing is, with Cryston gear, Cryston parts, and steel parts, once they hit the max capacity, which is 80k, if you're at level 11 or 12 regional development, your production line will stop, and they will be just sitting there doing nothing. So it's best for these parts that you produce them at a large quantity at first, and once you have plenty of these items, or once they have reached the 80k limit, you can just remove these production lines to open up the space for Buck capsule or batteries or canned Citrome. Now in my case, I have plenty of Cryston gears and Cryston parts, so I don't really need a production line for these two items. I'm gonna remove them, and that opens up space for a larger production line for the Buck Capsule A. There is plenty of dense ferrium powder output to accommodate 3 Buck Capsule production lines. And if you want to stick with just 2 Buck Capsule A, that is fine. 12 Buck Capsules per minute is pretty decent and gives you plenty of these guys for trading and for healing, but we can always make it better. We can increase both of these outputs from 12 to 18, and that's what we're gonna do next. So if you decide to upgrade your Buck Capsule production, don't forget to remove the existing ones. And after that, open your blueprint and deploy the BuckXL-R, which stands for right. This is a larger Buck Capsule production line that takes up a lot more space. This is the right half, and don't forget to deploy the left half, BuckXL-L, and place it to the left. Make sure you align conveyor belts. So now you will be producing 18 Buck Capsule A per minute, and that is the ideal number. You need to check that nothing is in the red. For example, my buck flower production is quite low compared to its usage, so in that case I'll just have to add more buck flowers into the empty seed picking units. Now these extra seed picking units are left empty. You can place Citrome or Acatine if you want to make explosives, and there are plenty of space for you to add more planters. Also, I want to shout out to Zononymous for this design of the seed picking and planting unit loop. It's a lot more compact than placing them in a series, and I really like this design. There is one more outpost that we haven't touched yet, and that is the one in our plateau. Now for this outpost, you can place any production line you want. I want to add another battery line to increase my power capacity and also my battery production output. If you do place a third production line, your power will be in the red for a bit until the battery arrives at the thermal banks. I'm just gonna jumpstart the base so that it won't take too long. So with this third HCBattery production line, I now have 18 HCBattery being produced per minute. And as you can see, with the built-in thermal banks, it's only consuming half of my total yield. And that leaves this open space that you can really do anything with it. If you need explosives, then you can just deploy a bomb production line. And once your bomb has reached the max capacity of 80k, you can just dismantle it. And perhaps you want to produce more steel parts because you are lacking and need to build more turrets. You can always place them right. Oh, need to move this Sub-PAC. You can place the steel parts production line in this open space if you need more of those to build more turrets. Just make sure to construct all the facilities necessary. Oh, I think I made more than I need, and there we go. But I do not recommend you adding this production line because the ferrium usage will be exceeding our total yield, and 1080 per minute is the absolute maximum you can extract, at least in this current patch. So perhaps you want to add another trading goods so you can trade more items than just batteries and buck flowers. I mean buck capsule. Then you can add the Citrome production line. But to do that, you need to remove this conveyor belt because it does take up a lot of space. Deploy the Citrome production line, and there we go. We have a third trading goods for you to trade with the Outpost. Now this production line uses up all of your amethyst yields. In total, there are 4 filling units, and you should have a yield of 24 can Citrome seed per minute, and you can use it to trade or healing your operators. If you are adding the Citrome production line, don't forget to place the Citrome plants in the seed picking unit in the core AIC. And that's pretty much how you can build my AIC mega base. As you can see, there's plenty of open space to add smaller production lines if you need to. I can add another array of closed planter loop if I need to increase my production on Citromes or sandleaf. There will be a surplus of sandleaf productions because these sandleaves are not being used since the Cryston gear production line was removed, and we have still this small open area for any lower tier material you need to produce. Or if you're being silly, you can use this open space to mess around with some conveyor belt. I'm gonna put my name in there, and now this base has my name printed on it. And there you have it. That's how you build my modular, space-efficient AIC mega base. If you are building this yourself, let me know in the comments what you think. I would like to know some feedbacks and find ways to improve my base even further. So if you enjoyed this video and if you enjoy Endfield, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe as well. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!